Hello everyone. I am actually figuring out my live stance because I don't have my tripod here with me. Yes, let us see. Welcome. This is Aarti Kuber, and today I'm starting this live series on She Speaks the Truth series. Okay, so welcome. We are starting the She Speaks the Truth series with our very first theme, which is beholding the expression of no. And this is more of a conversation with women who have been a part of this campaign, who have posted a video, who recorded the no, and just to see what opened up, and initiating conversations around no. And is it of any significance, women saying no? And and what I would like to acknowledge with these conversations is that it is a small part of a bigger conversation. So the intention is not to say it all, because we never can, and to acknowledge that each woman's truth is different, is unique, and to be able to voice that, to be able to be seen and acknowledged in one's own truth, and to know that even when in this 40 minutes that we might be together in this conversation, we will still only be able to touch a very small aspect of the conversation. And yet, that is where we begin. And it is very much possible that, after having the conversation, it always happens to me, I will feel that, oh my God, I left this out. Why did we talk about that? There was this, there was that. And that is very, very natural to happen, because our life experience and who we are is infinite, is huge, is humongous, is magnanimous. And to be able to bring that into this short time is an impossibility, and yet we need to begin somewhere, and that is what I hope that we together in these conversations, we open that up for you. And whoever watches this conversation live with us or later on, with each of these questions, we'll be exploring, I think, 5 questions today, and I invite you to really deep dive into these questions yourself. And as you hear the sisters who would be here, the women who would be here, speak and share their own experience and journey, allow that to really touch you and to see, what is my answer? What is my truth? And whatever it may be, to give it space, to give it place, and to acknowledge that, oh wow, yeah, and no is never an easy conversation. So today I'm very, very excited because I have 2 amazing, phenomenal women with me, and each in their own fields, in what they do in this world is phenomenal. And they are on the journey of standing tall in their truth, in voicing their truth. And so, and they are both from different parts of the globe, and they have been on a journey in Sheen Stansel project, in which is a 9-month journey of Shaktiship. And so I am very, very excited to begin this conversation with them, both of them. So today we have Aarti Kuber, and Aarti is from India, Mumbai. And there are so many hats she wears. And so today, as in her introduction, I'm only going to be giving a little bit of what she is and what she does. And she's a tarot reader, she is a feminine embodiment coach, and she is also the founder of the Chandrakala Collective. And I would deeply encourage you to go and check out her work. Yeah, and the other woman that I have today is Anna. Yes, we already have a fan here of Aarti. Hi, Shweta. And the other woman that we have is Anna Carolina Tramontini, and she is from Brazil. And she'll be joining us today from Brazil. And Anna, in her own work, I know Anna from India. She has spent many years here in India, and she is a vegan. She's an artist. I mean, she wears so many. She's a phenomenal artist, and I would invite you to also check out her work. She is also doing this movement around veganism to speak about low environment impact and animal cruelty, and through our bodies. Yeah, so these are the two amazing women that I have today, and I'm really looking forward and excited to have them here with me. So I'm waiting. I think I saw Aarti. So I have not done this, so I will figure this out. And so I have to, okay, invite. Okay, I think I have to send an invite. So I'm of them, and let's see how this works. Oh, I have Anna.
It's
Hi, Anna.
working.
There we go. And there's Aarti.
Hi. Hello.
This is so exciting to see both of you in the same frame. Oh, nice. Wonderful. So I think we will get into it. So it's more like a conversation, than an interview, So it's opening up conversations around the no, and you both have sent your 1 minute no, and I would encourage others to also go and see it, the no. So so before I say, so I would love to just to hear your voices. Just say, how are you, and what's going on, and what else would you like to say about yourself?
I'll start then. Hi. This is my first Instagram live, so yes, it's a good way to start with these two goddesses with me. So I think this is a perfect time also for this, because the project Reka talked about is called Stand for Them on Instagram, and it's a project about where we use body art protest to state our for women to state our no's against the exploitation of animals. And we stand as women because most of the animals exploited by the animal industry are females, and they are
Wow.
exploited for their wombs and for their breasts and for their ovaries. So we say our no together. Then today is the day where I reclaim this project after 2 years of being away from it. So yeah, so
Wonderful.
it's a beautiful no day. So I'm very
Yes.
excited. Yeah.
Thank you, Anna, and welcome. Welcome.
So lovely to be here with both of you. Um, yeah. I feel like this conversation is really important. Like the minute you sent me the post, like I was like, I'm so doing this. Like I was feeling really tired that day, but this just flowed through. And yeah, it's something that's really close to my heart, learning to say no. And yeah, just grateful to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much, both of you. I'm so grateful that you both are here, and I'm beginning. It's a beginning because you both are also starting with the letter A. I just realized that later that wow, it is, you are just kicking off this project. So shall we get, I sent you the questions, so I'm sure you must have had some, reflections on each of those questions. So I'll just state each questions, and then we can get into a conversation around it. And I mean, you already know about my work, and so I would still say, our agreements that we always do in our work of, the sacredness of our words and of listening, and whatever we say is there's no right or wrong and no mistakes here. each one of you and everyone is right in where we stand, and it's and true, and that's honored. So consenting also to not, we don't have to agree in everything that we say, yeah, and to also be held in that. So I hope that you're also able to say no, yeah, if you feel like, yeah. So today, so my first question to both of you, the conversation that I want to open up is around the recording itself, because this recording just I didn't realize that I was going to do anything like this, because I just did a recording of my no, and I looked at it, and it was quite fascinating to me to see myself saying no. And then it just hit me that, wow, this is something, there is something here which I don't see so much no's. And so that's my first question to you, that did it open any awareness around your relationship with no for you when you did that recording? And do you see women being able to say no, this movement of women saying no, do you think that this is of any significance? So that's where I'm inviting you into that conversation. So yeah, any one of you can start. And
Okay. So as I shared in our group, right, when I saw your recording, I felt instantly pulled to it as well. Like I felt that it's something I really wanted to do because I saw power in your recording, but I didn't know how much it was gonna impact me when I did my own. So I even get really emotional
yeah,
because when I saw my recording of my no, I shared that I saw a smile to it. I didn't see like a strong position, like very definite and like aggressive no. I saw a slight smile in the corner of my mouth in every no, and I saw a little bit of peace on it as well, and that got me thinking, wow, maybe that's why in my whole life so many people have taken my no for granted, and as not a definite thing, like as something that can be turned, as something that can be persuaded out of. And then I got me thinking that, do I have to change my no, or do I have to learn how to teach people how to interpret my no? It's my no, okay. So that's something that are still stirring up in my mind, but I do like the peace in my nose. So I don't think they should be less of a no just because it's not aggressive or angry. Yeah. So yeah, and yeah, that's what opened up for me
yeah,
in a big
and
way.
that's
So
a very
thank you,
powerful
Rika.
thing. Yeah, does no have to be can a no be peaceful no, and can it still be taken by, and yeah.
Yeah, I think for me it was the same thing. I realized that in the video when I was recording it, I was able to say it aggressively a couple of times, but it didn't feel authentic.
Yeah,
And then I switched to like making jokes and saying no in different ways, using different words, and that felt more comfortable. And I was also
yeah,
wondering, like, okay, is this why my no is never taken seriously? But then honestly, like, I came back to the point that I allow that no to be not taken seriously because I change my no to a
yeah,
yes, even when people push
yeah,
it. In fact, I remember like last year or maybe 2 years ago, like I had this work issue where I was working in a place and I didn't feel comfortable. And I remember calling you, Rekha, and I told you that I said
yeah,
no, but it was not taken seriously. And I was just crying. And I think that was a very important lesson that, even if somebody forces me to turn it into a yes, I can still continue to say no. Because there was so much
yeah,
guilt saying that I had shown up, said that I'd show up for this and I'm going to have to, honor my commitment. But there's always a space for a U turn. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I remind myself that it's okay for me to say no even after I've said yes a couple of times. And
Yeah.
yeah, and also it brought up for me the fact that because my no has always been turned into a yes by others, it had become tough for me to also accept the no of others, because I thought it was still a yes, you know.
Yeah.
So for me also to learn
Yeah.
that I need to also accept somebody else's no was a long journey of learning and accepting and not feeling rejected, or yeah, that's what came up for me strongly.
Yeah. Yeah, that is so powerful what you have said, and I'm sure many women would relate to that. You know, I think when we say no, like in my when I even in movies or medias, that's what they keep showing that again and again. You know, a women's no can be made into a yes, and it's just very interesting, and that to hold on to a no, and it's our choice, and it's some, if you want to make it a yes, that's again your choice too, right? And to, I think, to own that. So yeah, so I think, yeah, so, and
Yeah.
my, so this, yeah, were you
Uh,
going to
uh,
say something, Anna? Yeah.
yeah. I mean, when Artie was saying this and reflecting on the questions you sent me about what I have experienced, what I have seen other women in my life, how I
Yeah.
have seen them work around their no. So I have seen them changing their nose too, so much.
Yeah.
It's not just
Right.
media. It's like
Yes.
we see them change as
Yeah.
children.
Yeah.
Even as a young child, you're also taught to change your nose
Yeah.
and
Very
that
true.
your nose are not that worth it. And yeah, yeah. Also, a reason that my nose
Yeah.
are not taken serious, not just the peace and smile on it, but because I let them be turned so many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very true. And that leads us to the next question also. Is women saying no a sight that we see? Is it a very common sight around us, at our homes, in our workspaces, in our schools, in even in your classrooms? Do we see girls no being, or a woman's no, or women saying no? And how does she say that no? And how is her no received? So I think, yeah, and so that's where I think, what has been your experience in your life, with no? I mean, do you see that around? And I mean, me and Aarti, we're both from India, and you're from Brazil. So, so people have this notion, right? This is only in India that women cannot say no, and so this is like we have this, so yeah, and it's very, in my own travel, I see that it's not, it's everywhere globally, this idea that we have, that somewhere we are drilled in our eyes that you don't want to see a woman's stern. Her stern gets seen as being mean or dominant or aggressive. She always has to smile, and so maybe just I invite you to speak about what you see around, or about no, women saying no, or who held space for your no, even that.
So for me, like what's coming
I'm
up
also
really
thinking as I'm
strongly,
asking you. Yeah, yeah,
what came up really strongly is this book I'm reading about the heroine's journey. And it talks about, how women in a patriarchal society, and for those of you watching, when I say patriarchal, I don't mean men versus women. I just mean a system that has, is
yeah,
oppressive for everybody in it. And so it's like women are stuck to the role of a caregiver. They're stuck to the role of spreading themselves thin and taking care of the needs of everybody around them. And the paradox is that they are trained to neglect themselves. And right, and I'm just noticing, like after reading that, like I can see it everywhere around me. Like I have those lenses on right now. So yeah, I can
yeah,
really like sense it, feel it, and see how just by being born in this society, we get this message, like in our upbringing, in our schools, that saying no and being stern, like you said, like all the like any character in movies or even around us in groups, like if a person is stern and assertive, she's immediately like called manipulative, dominating,
Yeah.
like, and so it's just really tough. Like I've really struggled personally with yeah, I mean, as somebody who is, so I like to keep the peace in groups, you know, like I like to make sure that if there's something going on, like I'll harmonize it and balance it. So yeah, for me to step into that more assertive role without ruffling any feathers is something that is challenging. Also, I feel like women are expected to hold the resentment inside. Like, you know, they're supposed to take it all. Like, yeah, you take the pressure from every side and you hold it and you keep it within. And then that really hardens. Like it becomes like pain. Like we have numb bodies, so we have bodies that have so much pain because of all that we experience. And I'm feeling really, really present to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Akriti, Aarti, what you just said now, just open up for me the archetypes that women are allowed to embody. So in India, you can see like two main archetypes. Like I've for the time I spent there, I've noticed that we are allowed two archetypes, which is the nurturing and maybe the maiden. No, the maiden. And then in Brazil, there are a few more archetypes that are allowed for women, but it's like the sexy kind of like women. And then there is the I would say the masculine side, the CEO masculine side of women is also very allowed here. But everything else, we are not allowed to, right? Everything else we want to break out with, like if we want to break out of these patterns and take another facet of these women, of all the archetypes we can embody, we are not incentivated, not recognized, or even like kept a part of society as like a weirdo or something like this. So and I feel that for men we allow so many more archetypes, and we allow so many more faces. And I think part of like this, the importance of this movement of saying no, it's to for us to be able to embody all, because we all have all these energies, and to move through them naturally without having ones that we are allowed to and ones that are not. Like us saying no, like really, I can see like a woman saying no and really being able to move through those energies.
Yeah, you know, as you both are talking, I'm remembering my own, I'm remembering my own childhood. Like my mom, she only would shift the tone of her voice, and that's it, or her face. It's very interesting. My mom is one of those persons in my life that I see who has no difficulty in saying no. I mean, it is not. It's very interesting that it doesn't register. Like I even asked her, Mom, will you make a video of you saying no? She said, yeah, no issue. Like she, and I'm sure she would say it, and she would not even. She'd look at herself. She'll not even feel like what's the big deal. Like because I've seen her when she has to be stern with anybody, she will just say it, and I have seen how people judge her for that. I have seen her, and so for me, in my life, in my home, my no's have always had a place. I have never felt that I couldn't say no at home to my parents. I would say no. I think I feel most comfortable to say no to them, and it's a good thing. I find that so amazing. I was thinking about that. Wow, like that they would listen to my no. But outside, I have found that because I could say no, I have always in my school, everywhere, you would be seen as this disrespectful, or this girl who has an attitude. a girl, or beware of what you say because she will say no to you. And as you were speaking, I remember this very experience when we were in 8th grade. We had gone to Vrindavan Gardens from our school on a school trip. And you know how at that age you are so like you're laughing and you're running around, and it was from Kerala we had come, and I kind of lost my friends. So we were this group of 3 girls, and I was running, and I held the hand, and the Geeta and Reshma. So I just said hi, Geeta, and I just started talking, and I saw it was an auntie. So in this crowd, I didn't realize, and then she said, "How disrespectful girls!" She said that, and it hit me so hard at that time because it was not even a no, but just my it's not even over. I was just loud. My loud, happy, this moment was seen like that, and I just said, "Oh, sorry, auntie, I thought you're my friend," and I moved. But I heard that as I left, she turned and said, "These disrespect today's girls," like that she said, and it shocked me. Like, what did I do? I was only loud, I was happy, I was joyful, and it was, I remember that. I don't know about no, but it is something about that. Even to be loud and be happy, even that you would, it's difficult to be held like that. And yeah, it's just very interesting. This no business.
Yeah, thanks for
And
sharing that. Thanks for sharing that. It
Yeah.
really brought up for
yeah,
me like how many times I feel like I'm too much. And I'm somebody who's like really
yeah,
chirpy and joyful and like running all over the place. And sometimes I feel like, whoa, like if I show how truly happy I am, like am I disrespecting those around me, like because women are not
yeah,
supposed to be too happy and too loud. So yeah,
correct.
something I really struggle with. But yeah, I'm giving myself
Yeah,
more and more the permission to allow that side to come through.
yeah. And the is it easy to say no? This is, these questions I've been reflecting on myself, you know,
Mm.
like, about no is like, what is it? Like when we are saying no, what happens, like, is it easy to say no? Where is it easy? Where is it difficult? Where is it almost impossible? Why are we saying no? What is it? What is it when we say no? This movement within us, and what happens when we cannot. And I've been reflecting on that, and I'm realizing that it's never easy to say no for me, but I have to,
Hmm.
because no is about separating. When I say no, I separate from you. That's how I feel, but I have to, because otherwise I disappear in that moment. I am not, I am you, and yet I am not you. And there is something different, about me. So that's why I say no, but the no also. So how do I say no and separate and yet keep the connection flowing? I think that has been a skill of learning in my life. So no is never easy. So if someone is waiting out there thinking that I will say this no and it's going to be easy, I don't know. So I don't know what do you guys feel? Is saying no like easy breezy? For guys, many times I feel it is, because they are anyway separate individuals. I don't know, but we are so much in connection and collective that it takes something for us. It is.
It does. It does. It really does. When you said that the separation, it felt like, wow. Yeah, that's completely it. But yeah, and I've seen it mainly with friends that I have, and family, and people that I live with for a long time, or even people that I just met. I have a many no's, and I say no all the time. For like, I say no to animal products, and sometimes I do say no to alcohol, and I do say no to buying from brands that I think are unethical. And a
Yeah,
lot of people judge me for it. Things like,
right.
what a boring life. What are you doing? And, like reflecting on it, like, where is it? Is it easy? Where is it difficult? And I think for me, it's easy when I have felt the yes in my body and it doesn't feel
Right,
right. So I have said
right.
yes before, and it haven't felt right. So I know how yes feels. So I feel more
Yeah.
grounded in my no. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like when I really feel like the yes, it's not for me, it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
everyone else's experience is not for me, then I feel more grounded because I have this
Yeah.
experience. So it's difficult to say no from a place where I haven't been through the experience of feeling how the opposite feel in my body. And
Right.
also
Yeah.
it's much easier to say no when I have these rules. So
Yeah.
like I put up lines for myself, and these are
Yeah.
not rules given by anyone else, but it's
Yeah.
just rules that help me make that decision every day. Because if
Yeah.
there's I like to study habit a lot, like the habits of people, of us, of our brain,
Yeah.
how it works. And there's something called decision fatigue that we have during the day, where we have to make many decisions. So I feel if I set those lines, this
Yeah.
I would say no to, this I would say no to, it's much easier. But it's
Yeah.
not always, right? Because some no's are exceptions and different situations. But then it's something that, like you said, it's always difficult to navigate. But I feel that when I go through those motions, it gets easier to say the no. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. And it's mainly hard for me, like almost impossible, when I have like emotional attachments or triggers to the person that I'm
Yeah.
saying no to. So I know that saying no to my dad is like a huge thing for me.
Yeah.
And I struggle with it daily. Daily till today, I struggle to say no to my dad. While my mom was someone that always holds space for my no's, like your
Yeah.
mom. And I always saw she saying no to many
Yeah.
things. And even she was the first to say, okay, my daughter is from the world, or my daughter, it's different, she does what she wants, and she follows different way, and you don't have any say on what she does. And so
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Anna. Yeah, I'm just reflecting on Aarti. How is it for you? What are you sitting with? I can see
Hmm.
your
Yeah,
yeah.
churning and processing what I just heard, and
Yeah.
also my own sense of it. So for me, I think for the longest time, like I found myself in a place where I wanted to be of service to those around me. And that would mean
Yeah.
that I would take on more than I can handle that came to the
Yeah.
work that I do or personal relationships. So I,
Yeah.
right from the time when I was in school, like I had a cell phone really early because I'd get
Yeah.
so many calls on the landline that people wanted to talk to me just so that I could hold space for them to, figure out what's going on in their lives. And I became this agony aunt from
Yeah.
a young age. So I knew that like right from then, like I had issues with drawing boundaries. Like my own life would be upside down and here I would be counseling the whole world. So I
Yeah.
think that habit continued, like even up until recently where I really had to learn to, say, okay, you know what, now it's my time and I need to
Yeah.
draw a boundary and take space for myself. And I can't, be there for so many people. And
Yeah.
yeah, and it's been really interesting. Like now my body is, tells me the no more clearly. Also, I'm really sorry if you can hear the procession outside. But yeah, there's like a
No.
religious
Oh, is
procession
it?
that's
Okay.
passing. But yeah, so I think now my body feels the yes and the no better. But even now, like
Yeah.
sometimes I find that if I say yes to something, I'm always needing to like confirm after some time. Because it takes me some
Yeah.
time to really understand, like, is this really a yes?
True.
Because I need to understand how much my schedule is, like committed, and
Yeah.
do I really feel like, or do I need to postpone this? Maybe not just say yes or no, but maybe in a month, to allow that
Yeah.
spectrum. So I'm trying to
Right.
bring more of that, flexibility of not just binary yes or no, but that's why in the
Yeah.
video that I made, like I said a lot of different things, like maybe not right now, I'll think about it, so
Yeah.
these are the sentences that really help me um, express to the person what I'm truly feeling in that moment, which might be confused,
Yeah.
and come back to it later and then truly say what I feel. And yeah, it's been a journey, like on days where I'm really in my
Yeah.
head, when I'm feeling like, oh no, you know what, I have a lot of energy and like I'm planning for the next few months and I want to do this and that, like I'll make really big plans. And then I need to realize, like, whoa, how am I going to actually do that? So I think for me, saying no, a lot of it is also within myself. Like
Yeah.
what am I allowing myself to do? What is totally not okay
Right.
for me? Um, and say, for example, this is a very simple example. Like I'm serving myself food, and I'm, like one serving, two serving, and then the third serving, I know that this is like just for my tongue. It's not for my body. So how do
Right.
I show up in that no? So of late, I've been more and more aware that I just like leave the third serving out and come back to it if I'm sure I want to eat it, and really coming into the body and saying what is my real answer in this moment, and to be patient with it, because I'm really learning that it's only when I'm patient that I understand the truth, and if I just think I know it, I might not really reach the bottom of it. So that's where I'm at with navigating
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. And isn't that so true that the more clear we are with our own nose inside our own self, how we show up, that is, it kind of gets mirrored with the world outside. That's where it begins. And for me, I feel sometimes now, as you're also aging and you're entering these different gateways of your life, I need a space between what's happening and what I'm going to respond. I say the reactiveness versus the response. I need instead of immediately saying a yes or a no, I would say, just give me a minute, or yeah, I will, yeah, let me, just, I want to sit with this before I'm going to jump and say yes or jump and say no, and yeah, and there are certain things which I'm very clear about the no, which it's so much part of my yes, of my insight, this alignment, and that I cannot compromise. That's who I am. And so and what you said, Aarti, about the from the mind and coming back, both of you said that about coming back to the body and really finding your, no and yes in the body, and seeing how to show up in that. Yeah. And yeah. And how does it feel to receive? And of course, this is again, what is inside is also outside. We can only go as far as we can hold our own no's and yeses. And that's maybe also connected to this question: how does it feel to hold space for others' no? How do you show up when a no is said to you? And yeah, so, and how do you, any tips? I mean, you guys kind of shared a little bit of that, but now I want you to share, maybe go a little deeper into that. How do you show up in others' no's, your own no's, your own inner no, that like Aarti spoke about the third helping. I think that's in so many of those places in our life we meet this inner no of the body saying no, and yet something else, the mind says no, I want to, there's something else which wants to go there. And how do you navigate that? And of course, I'm sure if people are waiting for us to give them a formula, I don't think there is a 1% equal to 2 formula, and I'm sure it changes every time. And yet sometimes, and what is how do you navigate that? Are there emotions that come up when you're not able to honor your own no's and your own yes? And how do you
Rita,
regroup for,
from
yeah.
from my experience with receiving no's, um, I think for start, when you don't like you said, when you don't respect your nose and you don't see the importance of your nose, you don't see the importance of other people's no's. But I think that separation factor comes into place here, because when you receive a
Yeah.
no, it's someone saying, putting themselves in a separate position from you, or a separate point of view. And that also hurts like an ego or something like this, you know?
Yeah.
So I think I think the most thing that comes to me, it's the big no's I received in my life. And the big
Yeah.
no's, I think I went in like huge ego trips before I realized that person experience, and
Yeah.
that where that no is coming from. At that moment that I received the no, um, I just was thinking about me and what's going to happen to me and me and me and me. I think, and that's what prevented me from seeing the sacredness, or acknowledging that person's no, even though it was in my same position as mine, even though it was a break from me. So
Yeah.
I think I just feel that once we see the nose as a less, it's not an attack on us or a separation from
Right.
us. It's just that person standing for their feelings and their no and their truth. It's not
Yeah.
anything against us or anything like this, you know. So when we realize that, we are able to receive that no from a different space inside us, you
Yeah.
know. That, that's what I feel.
Yeah. Very true.
Hmm. Like what's most present for me right now is the transition that we're going through. So in Chandrakala Collective, like from the last 3 years, I've mostly been anchoring it myself. But now we're, trying to explore co-facilitation and co-creation. So we have 3 other facilitators who are coming in, and now we're trying to explore, what it's like to go this journey together and bring our skills
Right.
together and expand it. And so in that process, like we're trying to see like how we can honor each person's gifts and talents and ideas, but also their no's, right? Because we're trying to
Yeah.
explore female leadership. We're trying to explore a space where our personal and our private and our professional lives are not separated. So it's like the whole person is invited to the space, and we're co-creating from that space of total presence. And in that journey, like, we have to say a lot of no's to each other. Like when an idea
Yeah.
is shared that requires more commitment than we can offer, like we have to say no. If we see that the vision that we're working towards doesn't make sense to us and is different from the vision that we have for ourselves, which is also on the
Yeah.
table, we say no. And if we can't make it for a meeting, we say no. And like in the corporate
Right.
culture, a person who does not show up for every meeting, let's say, or somebody who says no a lot,
Yeah.
is seen as like a troublemaker, or somebody who is
Yeah.
lazy or slacks all the time, and not trustworthy. But how can we truly make space for where a person is right now?
Right.
So I feel like that practice of really allowing a person to be where they are, giving them love, like for taking the tough choice to really express their no instead of just saying yes and pretending. Because I feel like there's so
Yeah.
much intimacy that is built in the group,
Yeah.
like during the transition, like we have become so much closer, like we understand each person's limits, and we're able to build that compassion and move together.
Yeah.
So even though there's that separation, like that instant, like there's also that much more connection. So it's
Connection.
been a really beautiful journey for us to get to know each other through that. And I
Yeah.
realized that just by keeping radical self love and joy at the center has allowed us to
Yeah.
take, that value allows us to take that. So, yeah, it's been very life changing for me to, yeah,
Yeah.
experience that.
Yeah, very, very true, and I feel I'm just reading the comment somebody wrote, and we will come there. She says there's a comment by Supriya Chaudhary: when a guy says no, he's taken seriously. We'll come to his no and her no. Um, and and I feel there's so much more when a no is said than I feel when when we say a no, it's when someone says a no, when I feel there's so much behind, it's never easy for anyone, I feel, to say no, because then you have to step out, be who you are, and then come back into that connection again. And if when you say no, you're not seen, then you sever from that connection, you lose your entry back, when you're not held. So I feel like whenever I say no, I always say the no at the risk of losing that connection. But it is important, because if you can see me in my no and this is who I am, how much more deeper is our relationship, so I feel no is like an iceberg, the tip of an iceberg. There's so much behind it. This traumas can get activated, trauma of rejection, abandonment, so much gets activated, and it's interesting, like even when we hold space for a no, is there a way of the other who receives a no to express it, how they feel, and what does that do? Like when you say no to me, I feel, this. And I'm also just reflecting on what Anna also spoke about, the reactiveness also, how we are not able to see. And I feel when we are younger, in my own experience from where I see when I'm in my maiden, that's when I feel I was learning my no. And I feel sometimes for me as a woman, outside world is so not ready for my no, that I've had to do like it's not literally like this, but you have to do a lot of this to be seen in your no. Literally you have to get dramatic, because when you say lightly, nobody's like, yeah, whatever, I will change, you will change for me. So as a young girl, there's this, and I see that even today, I see girls, daughters, young girls, they have to literally create a little bit of a scene, and then what happens when her, it's and then slowly you learn. And that's where sometimes I think, when we are younger, when I was younger, I would say many of my no's were very reactive, because I felt that I was taken for granted. I was expected to not say a no. And that was a very, like my choice was taken away. Yeah, she would come along, she would. So, you don't have to ask her, she would. And I said, no, I would not. And then it is, then it's I think, and as you grow older, you learn the language of that's yeah. And yeah, so now I will go to that next question. Is there a his no and a her no? Are they different? Are they seen differently? Have you
Just
seen,
add,
maybe if you, yeah,
just adding to the
yes, go
last
ahead, Anna.
question. Just adding to the
Yeah,
last question. I think Aarti brought something up that is really precious. That I think is our ability as leaders and as women or as creators of working space and projects to give space, to create the space where
for no.
no is accepted. So
Yeah,
today I have a company, and I have four women working for me, and
yeah,
I see how like people expect me to treat them like a patriarchal company would treat. And I think it's has been like an amazing experience to be able to try to flow with it and to understand
yeah,
them and see them. And it's beautiful too that we are able to create these spaces today. Yeah.
yeah. And to see a person as more than just even the no, when someone, there's so much behind a no. And it never usually has room to be expressed. What's behind when I say no, there's so much to me in that no, to be held at. And it's very true. And I think leadership spaces, companies, um, you know and I think no is also built on trust, right? Why would someone express their no unless they know that they're not going to lose connection? It's it's like my spiritual teacher always used to say that if there is a fight between love and truth, love wins and we lie, you know. So if my no cannot be held, and then I want connection, you know, that's, I will survive there. So I will rather not show you my no, and I will align. And but then we lose a connection there. We have lost that person a little bit. They don't trust fully. A part of them is not there anymore. Is will not, we will not see that part of that person. So how do we create spaces, you know? So Aarti, like both of you, you know, the kind of spaces that you create, can the whole of the person be there? And you guys are doing that, you know, really doing that. And yeah, and have you seen a difference in the no's, his no and her no? I mean, I'm two daughters. I always tell my parents, if I had a brother, I would really see how my no is seen. Because we are two daughters, I really don't know, you know, if my no is being seen is because there's no other boy in the house, and I have a place. I really don't know, because so, you know, so how do you, because I have seen almost in my family everywhere, I keep seeing the nose of the daughter is very differently held than the no of the son. I see that again and again. So yeah, so what have you noticed? And when in not just home but life, family, extended family, workspaces, on the streets, public spaces, what has been your experience?
I think that from what I've seen, I also don't have brothers, and now I do have one brother that was newly born. It's a few months old. Yeah, but we have been four sisters, and um, but I see from like from my friends and from what I see parents treat, and also from what we see online, because we have a lot of access to information,
Yeah.
that the yeses, the nos of boys are always more, gets more incentive than the nos of girls. You know, girls are taught how to behave proper and how to be polite and how to be like very polite, and boy, it's accepted that boys misbehave. And I think
Yeah.
that's the thing that was a keyword that came up for me when I was reading this question, that the misbehavement of boys, it's good, and for girls it's not. And that allows for a lot of growth in their know. So when they become
Yeah.
adults, they are even more grounded in their knows. It's not it's not only that we accept the grown man knows better than the grown women know, but they are also more grounded because they had so much more experience from a young age exploring that know. So they had much more place to grow in that. So when they say
Yeah.
a no, it's from a more grounded place than when we say, because we haven't had that much as much experience as they have with their no. Uh, it's like when you said like your family allowed you to say no, so you grew up grounded on that no. So it like your mom, it comes with ease to her. But so many girls that they don't experience and start experiencing and grounding themselves on their no from a young age. When they become a big like a grown up, they are expected to say no as a woman. Do we expect them to be able to say no if they haven't, like, you know, have time to ground their no in themselves? So for me, it's just that they have a lot more experience, but we can catch up, I think. I think we always have space to develop our no and to
Yeah.
experience, and I think it's not important to be perfect on it, and
Yeah.
it's just to try, because it's like that. It's like we can become kids again, and we
Yeah.
can start experience and see where it goes, and not always we get it perfect, not always we get it right, but we just develop that groundedness on that note.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very true. I hear you. And somewhere I think no is about individuation and self autonomy. That's what no gives you, the power. And somewhere men are trained to be, they have the acceptance to be, have self autonomy and individuation. And somewhere daughters are taught to conform, and it's felt that if you have your own individual this, then you will not be able to bring family or keep family together. I don't know, there's something there, so but so she, I think, um yeah, so your individual, a woman's individual identity is seen as a threat. And yet, in many of the things that you have spoken, it's you have shared that it's not, like the connection goes deeper when a woman's no is also has a room. So it's very interesting. I like that grounding experience of the no for a woman, right? Yeah.
Hmm. Like I'm also noticing something similar. Like I want to just comment a little bit about the gender divide. Like it
Yeah.
seems like um, women, right from a young age, are seen as somebody who's going to nurture the family. So for them to individuate, they either need to get married or they need to pull some crazy cards and go study somewhere, or like
Yeah.
they need to get a job, and like it's very tough to separate from the family. And
Yeah.
yeah, and then I've also seen like some men, or like, and this is like taking the conversation a little differently. Like I'm noticing how like initial childhood and parenting plays such a big role,
Yeah.
where if
Very
a
much.
parent is like, do this because I told you so, I know it's
Yeah.
better for you. Like even a man's no is not taken seriously.
Yeah.
And like men also struggle to say no. Like I want to also
Yeah.
bring that in, because I
Yeah.
noticed that sometimes like they go into this role where they are primary caregivers for either one or both of their parents, and they get stuck, like looking after their parents their whole life, looking after their siblings, and it's
Yeah.
very hard for them to say no as well. And sometimes they don't even realize that they can say no, because men are also taught to be strong and to like just take
Yeah.
on the weight of the world. So yeah, I guess it's
Right.
also challenging to be in that position, and
Yeah.
not taking away from the struggles that women go through. Like it's like extremely terrible, and like Anna said, also the animals that are exploited for products, for commercial products, are also females. So keeping them in mind. Like I remember like
Yeah.
writing about how I felt in my body so deeply the no and the cry of all the beings that don't have a voice, all the trees that are being
Yeah.
cut, all the animals that are being exploited, and women, who are suppressed. And yeah, so there is such a loud no if we really listen. And if we
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
put our ear to the ground, like there is a lot of screaming which is just not audible.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
True.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
And Aarti, what? Yeah. Go ahead, Anna.
there's a some movement happening where friends of mine have joined of men that are against toxic masculinity, and I think that's a beautiful movement of men
Yeah.
saying no to all the
Yeah.
things that all the roles that they are expected to fulfill as
To
well, and the ones
play.
that they're
Yeah.
not allowed to, the ones
Yeah.
that they're not allowed to. So that's
Yeah.
also a huge and beautiful movement,
Yeah.
so empowering, and it
Yeah.
it has many less popularity these days, I think, than women empowerment, because women empowerment has been made much more acceptable these days. And when you
Right.
see a man join like a toxic masculinity men's circle and
Yeah.
all that, he's much more judged than us. So there's still a lot
Right.
of that we have to allow them as well in their notes.
Yeah. And I think the nose, I mean, there is the nose, the areas of nose might be different in the way they are held, but the no being not held, it is there for both men and for women. It's not like all of men's no's are taken, um they like these, wherever there are expectations of certain ways, the shoulds and should nots, and when people are expected to align with that, anywhere wherever we have confined, what is the word, when we have to conform, when anyone has to conform to a certain way of beings, because it's about individual, whenever you're individual this, whether it's a man or a woman, who you are, if that doesn't have the ability to be expressed and held, then no is compromised, and it really doesn't matter. So that's something that also I really want to bring, though we are doing this movement for women saying no. I think it is as much, for men to have their own individualness and who they are, vulnerability, standing up for vulnerability, standing up for connection, and their heart, I think, or feelings. I think those are areas where men have really not been able to, men have not been allowed to own themselves. So I think the expressions might be different, but I feel both of men and women, I think every human beings, I think, struggles whenever we have to be who we are, and usually what we want to be is little different from everyone else around us. And I think that's what I'm realizing, that my no's really allow my yes to have room inside. My no's allow me to be who I'm here to be. And if I don't say that, then the world misses out on me, just the same for everyone else. So I don't want to miss out on someone because they are not showing me their no. you know yeah. And I think we are slowly moving towards the last question.
Rekha, although I want
What?
to say one thing before we move
Yeah.
on. Like, I wanted to just voice the concerns for the queer community, especially the trans community.
Yes.
They usually
Yeah.
carry the burden of constantly reminding others that they're different and they need to be addressed a certain way, and that there needs to be a
Yeah.
certain respect given to them. Like, I feel like it's really tough.
Yeah.
And like you said, if we allow them to say no, we make space for so many different forms of expression, which we are not even like
Yeah.
used to seeing. And like right now, the
Right.
trans bills around the world, like they're so oppressive. So how can
Yeah.
we, make space for different forms of expression and see gender and also sexual orientation and our
Yeah.
sex, like like people of different sexes, like intersex, and like how do we make space for this? Like how can we allow these communities to all exist? We literally erase them.
Yeah.
So yeah, like
True.
how can we be open to that? Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel that's where the world is right now. And that's my last question. How can we support? How can we create those spaces where, the no's can really be held, and it can open up conversations, and instead of being defensive about somebody's no, is it possible to go into the feeling and share, how that affects me, and even if you look at world today, it's a no, but of a different kind. It's I don't want to see, I don't want to see your it's a no which is completely, I feel, severing connection. It's a no which is coming from, I feel, a confusion of the yes. What is my yes for? Like there's a confusion about the yes. So the no is just, it has become very blind. So our no's hurt everyone around us. But that is it. How do we create those safe spaces where each person as who they are, who he or she is, can just be, can show up? And that is, I think, an important question in today's time to really ask. How do you do that? So that's my question. How do you create those spaces? What and how do you because it's not a fixed thing, right? That's where it is, because it is changing every moment. You cannot have one rule that fits when you have to hold space like that. It is forever. So how do you do that? How do you navigate that changing flow and make room for that? Yeah.
Rekha, for me, what in your speech just now, what just risen up for me, it's something that I have seen and I struggle with a lot actually. That is people of different movements of no, um,
Yeah.
not supporting each other. You know, like saying,
Yeah.
okay, you can't say that because that's my movement, or my movement is more like, first we have
Yeah.
to solve human rights, then we have to go,
Yeah.
then we can go to women's right, and then we can go to trans right, and then we can go to animal right. And it's not like that. It doesn't have to be
Right.
one or the other. It doesn't have to be one movement's no and then another. Everyone's movement no is important. So it even like these days, what happened in the vegan community was what this big vegan personality called James Aspey, who spent 1 year without talking, in silence, in respect of the animals that don't have a voice as well. And he became
Yeah.
this a big personality and big spokesperson. He speaks beautifully, but then he said something like, "Stop the animal holocaust." And holocaust is a word that can be used to anyone that is going through that type of situation. But he
Yeah.
has been attacked in social media as of lately. He has been
Yeah.
destroyed. And it also happened with me in my page. Every time I say that animals right is a feminist issue, or if I say something related to slavery, I see people from other movements get some of, not everyone of course. Some people see but I think it's just it's a one fight for no, and it's a one fight to bring the true yes. And
Yeah.
as long as we keep putting other people's no's not just down, but after us, like our no is more important than their no, we're never gonna reach. We're not
Yeah.
never gonna stand together for all of our no's
Right.
to be accepted. So I think that coming together and respecting everyone else's no and really standing together, it's really
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. And yeah, the no's become like walls, right? They lock that wall, and then we cannot see each other, and that also happens. And that's I think in today's world, it's a good awareness to have, and how to meet beyond those walls.
Hmm. That reminds me of the theme for the gathering that we're hosting this Saturday. It's about the world that we want to see and how are we going to get there. You know, like talking about it, like really sitting down and saying, okay, the world is like covered in uncertainty. There's confusion
Yeah.
everywhere. Systems are breaking down. And here we are stranded on this planet, you know, with our individual skills and gifts. How are we coming together? What needs to change? What needs to be seeded?
Yeah.
And that's been really alive for me, you know, like realizing that whatever is going to happen, it's going to take time. And
Yeah.
like I'm really realizing that slowing down is one of the best things that we can do, you know, to make space for the no.
Yeah.
I'm realizing that at this point, like as a tip, you know, like that in some relationships, like you have, and in fact you must sit down and have those conversations, say no, talk about why, what feelings it brings up, have those deep, difficult conversations. Some relationships, maybe it's better to just, you know, say no and move on. And like you said, you know, there's always a risk of like losing that intimacy, and in some cases, you know, we can't be in every
Yeah.
relationship the same way, so you move on. but I'm realizing that across movements, across people who are, in the space of activism, social change, healing, like I think it's really, really time now that we, like broke our walls and really came together. And like with all the
Yeah.
Age of Aquarius talks that we're having, like I think it's really time we learn to be together, be together in our
Yeah.
yeses and our nos, in our grays, in our in betweens, and learn to hold space for that. And it's tough, yeah. It's not easy to
It's not easy.
stay around like when it's not all like hoo hoo yeah, let's have fun. But I think that's when like the real growth happens. That's when the real transition happens. And like I think staying at home like with our families or our friends or even alone during lockdown has been such a huge learning when it comes to saying no, sharing spaces and drawing boundaries and learning to respect other people's boundaries. So I think the universe is preparing us for something really major, for us to really reclaim our no and like to say it in the loudest possible way, holding hands with each other when the time comes, And there's been so many movements. Also wanted to mention the racial movements, in India,
Yeah.
especially when the Dalits come together and they're trying to protest. When in Kashmir there are things happening. When people say no, no one cares. Like the farmers protest.
Yeah.
Like no one cares about the no's. Just because like it's convenient, like because that's not where the money is. So I think it's a
Yeah.
time to really reorder like the money and the economy and like allowing there to be more space and for us to slow down. Like what are we doing? Like we're just destroying this planet, and like we're expecting ourselves to like float on like a flying carpet of money. That's not going to happen. So like there's
True.
going to be a time where like we get slapped in our face and we have to sit and do the work.
Mm-hmm.
True.
And the space.
And
Oh, sorry.
yeah.
Say
No,
that.
go ahead. Go ahead, Anna.
Yeah, so the spaces for us to say no, right? And to practice our no. So I think it's so important for no to be also celebrated and not just to be
Yeah.
accepted. So like I'm in a sisterhood that we meet weekly, and weekly we have a burn together where we say no to everything that we need to say no, we feel like saying no. And I think sometimes it's after that burn we are able to say our no, and sometimes we have to
Right.
bring it to the burn a few times, and just to
Yeah.
have that sisterhood celebrating our no's. Like we cheer
Yeah.
to, like every time someone burns something, we are cheering, we're burning situations, we're burning habits, we're burning people
Yeah.
also, we're burning like we're burning everything that we want to say no to, and we're celebrating each other's courage to say no. So
Yeah.
having that support system, it's so important as well, like to develop. Yeah, I'm coming back to that groundedness on that no.
Yeah. And I also would like to add that the awareness that we need to also have around no is that it's a trauma gateway. No, when anyone says no, the opposite, also the polarity for the other, also the no can open up so many gateways. And for someone, so it doesn't matter wherever, whether it's racial, whether it's gender, whether it is, because a no is very individual. It is not a collective. That people don't, I feel like there's a missing part. So when someone says no, everyone need not agree to that no. The movements are about everybody agreeing. It need not be someone's other's experience. They could have a completely different truth. They could actually be on the opposite side of that no. And so if that person is not held and their feelings are not held, and that's why I feel the movements fail, because it becomes about right and wrong. It becomes my no is right and your no is wrong. So I don't have to meet you. But it's not, that's where I think the no fails, because a no is an individual thing. It need not be true for everybody. And I feel that's where I feel we fail to understand. So what might be very traumatic for me, or that when I speak against that, or when I say no to that, it could be something very sacred to somebody else. but they have no more space to say that, because if they say that, they become wrong because I am right. And I think that is where, because then they would try to show us that, oh, okay, but you don't know, because I feel even in these movements there are so many who might disagree, but they will not show it because of this right and wrong. And I feel that's where the no is not a right or a wrong. A no is true for me. It says a truth about me, but it is not against you. And I would like to know what is yours and how is it my no affecting. I will I give an example. Like when we were kids growing up in school, there was this thing that we never took non-veg in our tiffin, in our lunchbox. Though we ate non-veg at home, we never took it. Nobody took. I had kids, my friends in my class were from every religion. We never brought, because we knew my parents would feel there are others in the class who do not eat non-veg. So it might be too much for them. So we honor that. So we don't take one lunch. If I don't take non-veg, my world is not going to collapse. But this, there's I feel there's an inclusiveness. We feel for the other. Though I want mine, I know that it might not, you may not like it. And the sensitivity, I think we have lost that sensitivity in the name of activism, in the name of being right. I feel that's something to really be explored. And to really be, it's not about right and wrong. Nobody is right here. It's a truth. And where do I find common ground with you? Where do we meet on common ground? What is common ground? I think that is something with the snow. Otherwise, snow can become a wall. I mean, that's just, that I have been feeling that quite a bit with all the movements. Because where do I stand? I want to stand with with everyone. But where do I stand? Because I have no stand. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I just felt that I wanted to voice that also, to step out of right and wrong also has something in today's world. Well, tomorrow the planets are really moving, and now, in India we see it as our Aquarius age is not yet started. So for us, it's still Saturn. Sun is in Saturn, and all the planets except Mars, everybody is summoned into Saturn's house from tomorrow. They are all answerable. You might be Jupiter and great in the sky, but sorry, you got to be answerable too. So I think these next 3 days and the effects of the next 3 days are going to be seen across the next few months. So yeah, so yes, I think I come to the end of all my questions. Is there anything that you are sitting with? What are you sitting with right now? Maybe we take a little, just a pause to catch our breath, and what remains. Are there any words that in our closing that
For me, yeah, I'm still in that vibe of the movements that we've been talking about, and how a few of the movements fail for lack of, I think, of allowing diversity on their nose inside the movement, right? Is not from, but the importance of a collective no. You
Yeah.
know, like I feel that movements are really important,
Yeah.
uh, because they changes the change goes from an individual level to a societal level. So when something is spotted that as is that I don't want to say right or wrong, but it
Yeah.
could be better, like we could behave better as a society.
Yeah.
The collective no, it's really important. But I think the secret is to allow for the diversity inside that movement. So again, I'm speaking from the vegan movement because it's the one I've
Yeah.
most inside of, but I think it's worth for every
Yeah.
movement. So inside the vegan movement, there's some people that they say I'm vegan for the animals, I'm vegan for the planet, I'm vegan for health. There's a lot of reasons
Yeah.
why, and all these reasons, all these truths have to be allowed. It's not,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like it's they all have must have space. So I
Yeah.
don't think the move. I think the secret for the movement is to allow that diversity, but still the importance of standing up as a collective for no as a society to evolve as well. And I think that's something beautiful. Both the individual no in
Yeah.
our life, in every relationship, and seeing the other no, but as a society, it's beautiful when we are able to say like a collective no to something that
Yeah.
matters. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
True.
Yeah, that really resonates with me as well. And yeah, I mean, I think in those few moments of silence and reflection, like I was just reminded of the courage that I'm currently needing to really step away from certain things that I do just because I'm expected to do it, and to really say, what is it that I want to do? Like, even though I've been conditioned, or like I'm comfortable with doing things a certain way, and there's a no in my body, like, can I find the courage to slowly break away from those things and find what's truly mine? And like, this is the year where I'm moving from maiden to mother. So, you know, like that whole process of individuation is really alive for
Yeah.
me. And yeah, so I'm just sitting in that awareness that a lot might change very soon. So, yeah, just sitting in that soup. But yeah, I mean, I think that's all that I'm feeling comfortable sharing on Instagram. But
Yeah.
yeah, like I'm just sitting in that awareness and really grateful to be alive at this time when we're learning to say no as a collective.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that a lot of the work that I'm interested in is in building collectives, and in like what you said, Rekha, like the way I understood it, like polarization is not the answer. You know, yes and no
Yeah.
is not the answer. Saying a collective no does not mean being aggressive towards the people who are saying yes, but you know, bringing collective dialogue. So
Yeah.
yeah, like I'm really looking forward to seeing like more restorative justice practices. I'm looking forward to see more dialogues, you know, like where we can literally
Yeah.
sit and express what we want and move as a group. And hopefully decision making is going to change majorly in the next few years. We need it. So
Yeah. We need
yeah, like,
it.
you know, like really hoping and rooting for that. Yeah.
Humanity needs it. Yeah. How can our no's be beyond right and wrong? And how
Yeah.
can we meet the no's of the other group? Because the minute we make ourselves right, there will be someone who will stand up and say, no, I don't agree, I am right. It's natural. It is the nature of the universe. It's then there is fight. So my journey and my this movement right now, for me, it has been about that. um, Beyond right and wrong, can I see you, and can you see me? And I would like to end with Thomas Hubel, who does the collective trauma work. He's saying that I feel you, feel me. So I want to feel you, feel me. I want you to feel me, feeling you. I think that, you know then we see you see me beyond all my stories and my ancestors, and there's so much here that is part of who I am sitting here, who you are sitting here. And can we meet there beyond our rights and no's, rights and wrongs, and in our no's and yes, and to honor each other. So Thank you so much for being open to be the first ones to initiate this and to be part of this conversation. And I hope that whoever was watching, this opened up many gateways and many emotions and feelings, and even the right and wrong, and the pushing or the pull, and it was all part. And if you, I hope it, either you resisted it or moved in, whatever it happened to anybody watching, it's great, it's wonderful, and you're invited to explore that further. And thank you so much, Aarti and Anna, for being here, and thank you so much, and many blessings for all that you're going to bring into this world and the change that you're going to bring. Yeah, so many, many blessings.
Thank you, Rekha. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Bharti.
take good care. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I know, but we never asked if anybody had a question. I never asked that. You know, I
No.
don't know if people usually, yeah, I'm sure people must be still processing all that we spoke. So, this is going to be, this video is hopefully going to be there. I don't know how long it is now, but I will definitely, either I'll download it, or if it's longer, or, and people can send questions, post questions on this, and you both are tagged on it. You will be tagged so you can respond to people's questions. So blessed be, and take good care. Bye.
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 Bye. Bye. So I have to figure this out. Okay. Okay, friends. So that was, I'm just looking at the time. We spoke for quite some time, and I hope you had a beautiful time. Uh, I hope it was meaningful, and it opened up things for you. And you are sitting, take some time and pause on what has opened up for you. And please do write to me if there's anything that opened up for you and you're not able to meet it, or you're not able to transform it, and it is staying there, and it has opened up something for you, like a trauma or something. And please feel free to reach out. uh, Take good care, have a beautiful evening and beautiful day, or if you're joining from another time zone. And may we all find the courage to be who we are here to be, and maybe allow others the space to be who they are here to be. Blessed be.